Up next, an interview with Bill Krause. Well, hey guys, and welcome back to another Interstellar Modeler. This is my continuing coverage of Wonderfest 2023. The show concluded last week. It was a great show, well attended, and I decided to split off two of my interviews here from my Wonderfest video. This one here is with Bill Krause. Now, Bill is a modeler I met several years ago. What drew my attention to his work is this beautiful starship that he brought to the show at the time. I learned that he scratch built the entire thing, and he's someone who comes up with these really nice designs that live in that 23rd century period, and his work has since been appearing in the Star Trek Ships of the Line calendar, and I believe he's going to appear yet again in the upcoming calendar this year. Now, Bill is someone who's known now for designing the USS Titan that we saw on Season 3 of Picard. He's actually been involved with the show since Season 2. And so I caught up with Bill at the show, and he was kind enough to spend some time with me to tell us about his experience with Star Trek Picard. Let's take a look. Well, hey guys, I'm here now with modeler Bill Krause, who many of you know was involved in Star Trek Picard this last season in particular. And but before we start here, if you guys have not finished watching Season 3 of Picard, there is a spoiler alert here, so I just thought I'd call it out. So thanks, Bill, for being with us here today.
Well, thanks for having me.
Yeah, you're welcome, and congratulations on all your continued success.
Thanks so much.
Yeah, and it's no doubt been a thrill for you to see your work, like seen in the Star Trek calendar all these years, but to see your work on screen is a whole different level. Can you give us a synopsis on how this all came to be?
Well, my work began really on Season 2 of Picard when they asked me to build the ready room props, the gold-plated props of the Stargazer, and actually design another ship for the Season 2. And that basically rolled into Season 3 back-to-back, while they were shooting it back-to-back. And Terry Metalis had long been a fan of my work.
Yes.
I've seen it on what I've been posting on Instagram and social media. And he fell in love with the Shangri-La, which was a model that I had built for my very first Wonderfest 8 years ago.
Sure.
And he asked for one, and because I had sold the original, and so I started to build him his own scratch-built Shangri-La, which I called the Mark II. And it was between Season 2 and 3, and then as I was working, I almost finished it, and I get an email from Dave Blass, the production designer of Picard, and he found out that I was working on this model for Terry, and asked if I could mock it up with Picard-era engines. I went, I just finished building it. I really don't want to tear it apart. Do you mind if I just Photoshop something?
Right.
Which I did, and I did it that evening, sent it to him. The next morning, I get an email saying, they love it. It's good to go. And I had no idea what that meant. Good to go for what? And then to come to find out that they wanted to use it as the hero ship for Season 3, throughout the season.
So what was it like for you that moment when you first saw the Titan on screen?
It was unreal because I was in LA at the premiere in Hollywood at the Chinese Theater, sitting in the theater of the cast and crew of the show, and to see it on screen is one thing, but to see it with the cast and crew, and they're cheering as this thing appears on screen, it's like goosebumps.
Oh my gosh, I bet. Now, it looks like the Titan's DNA certainly reaches back to what we see in the Trek movies when it comes to starship designs. Can you tell us a little bit of how you came up with that design?
Well, it was my first scratch-built design, having come back in the hobby after a long hiatus, and I was, of course, inspired by Andy Probert and his motion picture aesthetic. So I wanted to design a ship that looked like he could have built something of that era, and it would have been just like a background ship. Just another starship, nothing special, but my own take on it. And that's really how that came together.
Cool. And so it sounds like, or it seems like this is something that your showrunners were looking for, is to have some sort of design aesthetic that really seemed to reach back like that to you.
Well, I think Terry really likes that era. He loves the motion picture era in particular, and really wanted to deep callback to the 23rd century for the new ship for the 25th century. So there's a lot of retro feel that he wanted to keep. And we could have stretched this design much further, but he wanted to keep it very much grounded in what the Shangri-La looked like, just with a couple of tweaks. And we only had a couple of days to put it together.
Well, it's a beautiful design. Now, a ship, at least in my opinion, the ship that the Star Trek series is centered around eventually becomes a character in that show, I think. Right? And that's certainly something I saw
saw happen with the Titan as the season progressed. But yet another thrill, no doubt, that you experienced was when you found out that it was going to evolve into another version of the most famous character in Star Trek at all, which was the Enterprise. So how did you find out?
That was a complete surprise to me.
Really?
I knew it was to be changed. The name was to be changed based on the script that I had read.
Yeah.
It wasn't until the show was in post-production and I got a text message from the visual effects guys, because they had been kind of feeding me little hints of what they were working on. And they were also Star Trek fans. They were geeking out when they found out. There was a little note on a screen grab of the last frame saying, please change the name of the ship to Enterprise G.
Wow.
And that's when they found out, and they freaked out, so they had to go and of course tell me, and that's when I was like floored there.
And being a longtime Star Trek fan, when I saw that happen on screen, because it was a complete surprise to everybody, it's a very impactful moment. So goosebumps on goosebumps for you?
Exactly. I'm one giant goosebump.
Yeah, right, exactly. Right. Now, I particularly found this season of Picard a bit different from a lot of the new stuff that's been out, in that for me it seemed to reach back to the formula that made Star Trek successful in a lot of different ways. Did you find that to be the case for you?
I think so. I mean, it felt Star Trek because you were in space and you were on a starship. It just felt like this is what Star Trek should be. It used all the right formulas of what I thought was classic Star Trek, and I think they wrote the music that Star Trek had composed years ago, and they just continued that theme, and that's what I think drove home to a lot of fans who wanted to see more crews in space on ships. And that's Starfleet, that's Star Trek.
Because when you think about it, the whole season was like a bottle show, if you will. They really didn't, if I recall, didn't really land anywhere. They had to really do a whole lot. I mean, most of it took place.
It was all ship-based. I don't think they were, well, there were some side episode or stories that took place off-world, but it was mostly all on ship. And you saw multiple starships. It wasn't just the Titan, it was many other ships.
Sure says a lot about the writing and the love they have for Star Trek. Very good. Well, I do appreciate it. Many of us, of course, are pulling for Star Trek Legacy. I'm not sure if that's going to happen. I know that's something that's being thrown around. And
it might just be rumor at this point. It might be just the fan who's feeling that this is something that they want to do. But we'll wait and see.
Well, hopefully we'll see your continued involvement in that. And if that does happen, we'll be able to touch base a little bit after that happens then. Okay, very good. Well, thanks for spending the time with us. I really do appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
And congratulations on all your success.
I appreciate it.
That's great. So I did interview Bill a few years ago now. It's been a little while, but there is an interview I did with him. So if you haven't seen that and you want to see it, there's a link below. Thanks again, Bill. Appreciate it. All right.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that interview, and hopefully we will see more of Bill's work if Star Trek Legacy does come to pass. I, for one, sure hope that happens. All right, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.